Shalom Aleichem, holding before Pesach, the week before Pesach. A few topics I would like to discuss. The first one is the famous Kedushas Levi, Parashat Bo. He has a very interesting question. His question is, why in the Torah it is never mentioned the holiday by the name of Pesach? It's called in the Torah Chag HaMatzot. Every time there's mention of the holiday, the name of the holiday is Chag HaMatzot, not Pesach. However, in the Talmud and the Mishnayot and in the later commentaries and law, we all call it, the Jews call it Chag HaPesach. And the Kedushas Levi, the holy Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchever, asks, why is that? Why is that the Torah calls it Chag HaMatzot and the Jews call it Pesach? So he brings an interesting analogy. We know that Hashem wears tefillin just like we wear tefillin. The Gemara says that in Hashem's tefillin it says, Mika Amcha Yisrael Go Echad Ba'aretz. Which nation in the world is like the one nation of the Jews? And we reciprocate by having in our tefillin, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Alekeinu, Hashem Echad. Listen Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. So we praise Hashem, and Hashem praises His nation, His chosen nation, the Jewish people. So too says the Kedushas Levi. We praise Hashem's kindness, Chag HaPesach, that Hashem jumped over the Jewish houses and did not kill the firstborn from the Jewish people. It saved the lives of the Jews, only killed the Egyptians. Contrary to the name Passover, it wasn't Passover, it was jump over. So we call it by the name of Pesach to remember and symbolize the kindness of Hashem to His Jewish people. At the same time, Hashem calls the holiday Chag HaMatzot to remember the greatness of the Jews, that they had faith in God, that they left the country with only the dough on their backs and the clothing on themselves. That's the kind of faith they had in God, to go wherever He says, without anything, and put their trust and faith in Hashem. There's an interesting question. On Pesach by night, there's a mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, to talk about the greatness and the kindness of God that He took us out of Egypt. And the question is, every mitzvah, we need to make a bracha before it. So why is it that by this mitzvah of Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim, we do not make a bracha? There's many answers. However, the Chidushei Harim, the Ger Rebbe, has a beautiful answer. He says that a mitzvah that is a logical mitzvah, that we understand, we cannot make a bracha, because we cannot say the words Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, that you commanded us, because we would have done this mitzvah even without God's commandment. For instance, honoring one's father and mother. We don't make a bracha because that's logical. Even Gentiles understand, they don't always do it, but they understand that they need to give respect to their parents. Tzedakah, charity, we know that's kindness. People do that even without the commandment of Hashem. Only mitzvot which do not make any logic, which do not make any sense, like tzitzit, tefillin, talit, all these things we were never created on our own. It's only by God's command that He commanded us to do it, whether we're doing it, then we could appropriately say, Vitzivanu, you commanded us. And that is the only reason why we're doing these mitzvot. So therefore, because Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, talking about the greatness of going out of Egypt, is something that we understand by ourselves, so therefore we cannot make a bracha. Also, there's another answer they bring, is because it doesn't have a specific amount. Every mitzvah that we do or make a bracha has a process. To shake lulav, we take the etrog, the lulav, we shake it, that's the bracha. But here, it doesn't end. The time to talk about it isn't a significant amount of time. You could speak for 1 hour, you could speak for 10 hours. So because it doesn't have an end, a limit, that's why we do not make a blessing. I'll finish off with a very interesting insight. We know on Pesach by night we drink 4 cups of wine for the 4 languages of redemption. Voitseisi, v'ga'alti, v'lekachti. And it's interesting to note that there's also a 5th word, v'heveti, that God will bring us in to Israel. However, only the 4 languages, v'tzeisi, v'tzalti, v'galti, v'lekachti, those 4 that Hashem redeemed us and took us out of Egypt, those happened on Pesach by night. But the 5th one, v'heveti, that I will bring you into Israel, that seemingly did not happen on the night of Pesach in Egypt. That will happen when the Mashiach will come and we will go into Israel. So Reb Nachum Mendel Pavnitzer asked his brother, the Imre Emes, the Ger Rebbe. By the way, Reb Nachum Mendel Pavnitzer, you could see on this new video that they have on the Chafetz Chaim, he's also there in the video. And Reb Nachum Mendel Pavnitzer asked his brother, why do we pour the 5th cup on Pesach by night? And the Ger Rebbe, the Imre Emes, answered him that we did go to Israel on the night of the redemption of Egypt. And his brother asked him, what do you mean? And he said, there's a Targum Yodesim Ben Azil, you can look it up in Parshat Bo on the mitzvah of Korban Pesach. It says there in the Targum Yonetim Ben Azil that on that night, that sacred night of Passover, God took the entire Jewish people on the wings of an eagle and carried them magically to Israel, to the place of the Bet HaMikdash, to Jerusalem, and they ate the Korban Pesach in Jerusalem, and then were transported back to Egypt that same night. And that is why it says in the Pasuk, Al Yetzei Ish Mepetach Beisoi, you should not go out of the door of your house the whole night, because if you go out of the tent, out of the wings of the eagle, you're going to miss your flight back to Egypt. And if you may ask me, so what's the problem? So I'll stay in Israel. The answer to that, says Reb Shaul Alter, the grandson of the Imre Emes, is that it was not yet the time to go to Israel. However, we should merit that we should soon hear the Shofar Shel Mashiach, and we should merit to be in Israel, to eat the Korban Pesach in Israel and Jerusalem, and we should merit to have a beautiful and happy Passover. As the Rabshitzer Rebbe, who was a son of the Tzanzerov, used to say, we wish you should have a kosher and happy Pesach. The Rabshitzer Rebbe said, Hashem, we will make kosher and you will make happy. Hashem should help us. We should all have a kosher and happy Chag Sameach. Thank you. Chag Sameach.